What's going on, guys? See if this thing is gonna work here. It looks a little slow. How is it on your guys' end as far as audio and video? Trying to, man. Finally got back to that 300 club last night on both DK and Fanduel. So hoping to keep the streak going today, because I went 2 days, actually almost 3 days in a row without in the 300 club and without even cashing on GPPs. So looking to win some big money tonight, especially before some football tomorrow. Can't hear anything? Okay. No sound? How is that possible? Anything now, guys? Can't hear anything yet? Can you hear? All right, you hear me, Daryl? All right, guys, man. What's going on, Mike? OGov, BG for real, Alexander, Richards, Mike Torres. What's going on, Felipe? What's going on, Freddie T. McGee? What's going on there, Adam Lewis? Daryl Parker, what's going on? Yeah, I was just on the Slack chat, and I told some of the guys in there, I felt like, let me just go and get something to eat and then go out and go on live. I felt like going on live. I haven't done an NBA live. The weekends, probably Saturday is the best bet for me, other than doing NBA. I could do football today, but I'd rather do some NBA today. So I figured, let me eat something and get on. Yes, I know I'm live. For some of you who are on the Slack, just a little while ago, I told you guys I was thinking of going on live. So I am live. Go over the slate. Pretty interesting tonight. You know, just come back, just get in here, interact with you guys for a half hour, 45 minutes, and see if we can all make some money tonight. Like I just finished saying a few minutes ago, if nobody heard, I mean, I went on a 2-3 day losing streak where I wasn't cashing, and I was under 260, 270, I think, for 2 or 3 days in a row. I did get back to the 300 club last night. So I got a 316 on DK, cashed a little money there. I made a little more money on Fanduel with a 308 in a couple of different little tournaments. And so I'm ready to keep this GPP going tonight. So how do you guys feel? Anybody seen the video earlier? I mean, I put out a video earlier. I put out some picks. To be honest with you, I'm still pretty much high on those picks, man. I really do like, at point guard today, I really do still like Kemba Walker. But like I was telling some guys in the Slack group just a few moments ago, my only concern is that obviously he has dominated them this year, but that was without Jimmy Butler. I don't know if I'm Philadelphia, obviously I will want to put a little Jimmy Butler for a little while on Kemba Walker. But hey, we never know. Hey, nice to hear that, Franklin, man. I'm glad you're doing okay. Hey, this is what it's all about, man. It's all about sharing my experience doing DFS, being able to help others who are new to DFS, especially NBA or NFL. And, That's why I did the channel, man. It's just to be able to get this kind of a reaction when I see people tell me, hey, you know what, they like my content and they like the factors that they are actually making some money, which is great. That's what it's all about, is to make a little bit of money. And the whole thing is to be a little consistent. I mean, we're not going to make money all the time, and nothing is guaranteed. I want you guys to know that. I'm sure a lot of other people on YouTube tell you guys the same thing. This is a grind out situation, man, with DFS. Some days, some of the weeks, you're going to go good, you're going to go hot, and some days you're going to things just not going to go your way. Some players. But again, everybody's got to remember with DFS, man, we are talking about professional athletes here. So professional athletes have those bad days as well. And as well as there are some coaches that do some bad coaching time to time. So, we have to take that into account as well. Glenwood Thomas, nice to see you, man. SJS Hawkers. You sound hood. You sound good. Okay, thank you, Freddie T. McGee. Mike Day, what's going on, Mike Day? Max Rec. All right, I'm here to help out, man. We got a couple questions already. And, when I come on live, it's all about trying to just help out the viewers. So, you guys can shoot away. We'll talk for a little while, man. Obviously, lock is at 7 o'clock. So I want you guys, if you're going to make any possible decisions now, this is the time to do it. Half hour, 40 minutes before lock is the best time. I go always all the way up to about the last 10 minutes or 5 minutes if I have to make changes. So always keep that. So, Max asks about Corey Joseph. If there's no Oladipo tonight, obviously Collison gets a bump. Of course, Corey Joseph gets a bump. And I am all over Tyreke Evans tonight. I think Tyreke Evans, like I said in my video earlier, I gave you him as a value play. I think Mr. Evans is just, he's just too cheap, man. He's a $6,500, $7,000 player as far as price tag, and they're not utilizing him, man. They really are not. Indiana has not utilized him. Last night they put him to play, and he had a pretty nice game. So Mr. Evans, is Oladipo out? Sean, I don't know for certain. I know that there's a chance he might be. He's a game time decision. I did get a notification a little while ago stating that he is going to try to go, but he's going to test everything, the knee, during warm-ups. So, unfortunately, man, you're going to have to be right by your phone or by your computer if you want to put Oladipo to play. I would say, man, if his knee is a little bummed out for 10 grand, that it's a definite fade for me. I love Oladipo. If anybody's been following me long enough, I talk about this kid. I love everything about him as a basketball player. But with me personally, my best advice to anyone is anybody that has an injury, anything with knees, hips, ankles, the Achilles, hamstrings, you really don't want to play around, man. These guys, their game is all with their knees and their legs. If he's not 100%, I don't want to pay $10,000 for Oladipo to hope he gives me 50. So my advice is definitely fade Oladipo. If you want to pay for somebody in this top tier here, you might as well pay for Jimmy B. Like I said in my video earlier, Jimmy Butler is a great player, 8,400 if he plays. Right now I haven't heard any news about him wanting to take the day off after 37 minutes last night. So I'm on the JB bandwagon. I'm willing to pay him today against Charlotte. 8,400 is a very, very nice price. Very nice price tag for Jimmy Butler here on Fanduel and on DK. On DK's what, 7,900? 7,900. Jimmy B. Where is he at? He is too cheap. Yeah, I don't know. Again, as far as Victor, I do not know. Daryl Parker, Manny, what about the Warren and Booker stack? I'm okay with that. I love TJ Warren. I did mention him in my video earlier. I think TJ Warren is in a good spot here tonight. Devin Booker, he's due for a big game. I don't know when it's going to happen. But if it's going to be a game for Devin Booker to come out and play well, it's got to be here at home. He usually plays much better at home than he plays on the road. So I would say that you could definitely stack that game. And if you're playing the late night, which I think is the last 2 games or the last 3 games, I would definitely have a stack of Booker and Warren. I definitely play all slates, guys. I play pretty much all the slates. I always have at least a few lines in every slate. The main slate usually about 5 or 6. And then I usually love to play the late slate. I've had the most success in the 3 years doing this, playing NBA with playing the smaller slates. And that's just due to the fact that you can maximize your lineups a little bit more, with just 2 games on the table. So you can make a lot of little simple combinations, and next thing you know, you put yourself in position that you can at least play and win. Muscala, a sneaky play. I don't know. I do not know about Muscala, man. But you know what? Joel Embiid, game time decision with the hand issue. Yeah, I think he might be someone you may consider here, Mike Muscala. You're absolutely right. I wasn't even on his bandwagon, but I did know about Joel Embiid. I did not take a look at Mike Muscala. So he is definitely someone to consider here. At 3,600, I mean, man, you're talking about you only need 15, 16 from this guy, and he's averaging 15 already. And if he's getting at least more than 15, 16 minutes, which I believe he does. I mean, he's been playing 26 to 31 minutes over the last 3 games. Yeah, and that's with Embiid playing. So that means that he has definitely not only played center, he has probably played the 4 spot as well in some of the games. Uncle Drew for 40 burgers. Yeah, might. Sean Davis Collison is a must if Victor is out. Yes, I think he is someone you got to definitely consider in the Indiana game. Just like I said, Tyreke Evans. Don't sleep on Tyreke Evans. If Oladipo is out, the automatic bumps as far as offense for Indiana has got to come out of Evans, who's capable of scoring anywhere on the floor, and as well as Darren Collison. And do not fall asleep on Sabonis, because he's going to have to step up and obviously put up some scoring as well. Yeah, Embiid, Embiid is just a beast, man. He's just a plain animal. He's a savage. And I love the guy, man. I think the guy is fantastic. If he's able to play at 100% at 11K tonight, you need 55. I think that's easy peasy for him, man, against Charlotte. I really do. I think he's just going to murder these guys. Murder. It's going to be the Embiid versus Kemba Walker, because Kemba Walker's got to throw up like about 35. He's got to throw about, and I'm talking about 35 shots. He's going to have to shoot the ball. I think he shoots the most shots in the NBA as an individual player per game for his team, because he's the only thing the team has. He's the only thing the team has. So Kemba, unless he gets a little, my only concern with Kemba tonight is the JB effect. He has killed these guys in 2 games this year. And obviously that was without no Jimmy Butler, and I just got a feeling that Philadelphia is going to throw a little Jimmy Butler on him. LaVine is out. Chicago. With LaVine out, that definitely doesn't look good for Chicago. I mean, poor Chicago don't have anybody good enough other than LaVine. So obviously Holiday is going to have to perform and put up some points. That means Mr. Jabari Parker is going to have to play more maximum minutes. And Mr. Wendell Carter is going to have to play better. And that's a tough matchup for Wendell Carter with my boy Siakam here. I love Siakam. I played him last night. I'm going to play him again tonight. Jesus says Bogdanovich is going to put up 40. And you know what? You make a great point there. I've mentioned Collison. I mentioned Tyreke Evans. I still think Tyreke Evans is going to be the one that's going to have to step up if Oladipo is out. But you make a great case and a great point there, Jesus, by mentioning Mr. Bogdanovich. Bogdanovich is going to have to get a little more explosive and is going to have more usage out of him tonight as well. Because they got to make up for it. They got to make up the offense from Oladipo. Yeah, so Max, going back to the Mike Muscala, yes, absolutely. If he's playing more than enough minutes, even with Embiid, if Embiid is not able to go on his front end of a back-to-back maximum minutes, at least his average amount of minutes, then yes, Mike Muscala could be a very sneaky play at 3,600. Too cheap, with getting 26 to 30 minutes a game over the last 3 games. Yeah, Mike Muscala could be someone very surprising. Okay, Deshaun Robinson just says Victor is playing. My only concern with Victor playing is, man, if anybody's on Victor Oladipo, I don't recommend he has a little bit of a bum knee. Granted, I've seen it all happen in all the years watching sports. I mean, I've been watching sports over 35, 40 years. And I've seen it all. So I would not be surprised this guy still goes out and puts up 50. But you need 50 for him at that 10K price for Oladipo with a sore knee. I would fade him. Okay, I don't know what's the news on Oladipo. I'm getting mixed signals from a few guys. So I think Deshaun came in and said Victor is playing. Is he playing? He's not playing. I haven't gotten any word on my notifications. And maybe from what I last heard of Oladipo is that he was going to go through warm-ups and see how he felt. But again, for me, I'm not playing Victor tonight because at 10K, I'm not, I don't think he could get me 50 tonight with a bum knee. I don't think he could give me 50. But if some guys are looking for some value, for some budget plays here, because, you got to have that throwaway number here. And I was looking at a few guys earlier. Jerebko may be a nice play at 3,900. So is Kleber. Kleber is a nice play at 3,800 for Dallas against Golden State. If you want to look for that low price budget play, Jerebko and Kleber are perfect in the power forward spot. And at shooting guard, just to throw some names out there, you guys. You can't forget Iguodala for Golden State at 3,800. And even though Shumpert is just borderline, he's at 4K. I think Shumpert is someone with the minutes he's getting. He could definitely get you 20 or more for that 4,000 price. So he's not quite at that budget. As far as shooting guard at budget, I think for me is Iguodala at 3,800. I don't see anybody else I really like down there. And I do like Mr. Monk here for Charlotte. I mentioned that to the guys in the Slack a little while ago. I think Malik Monk could be a surprising play here, especially if Philadelphia neutralizes and shuts down a little bit of Mr. Kemba Walker today. Then Mr. Malik Monk is going to have to be put up more offense, as well as Jeremy Lamb. Wow, Alexander. Yeah, listen, I did mention in my video McGee, and I did as far as center, and I told you guys that I was all over, and I definitely love Mr. Vucevic. I'm still on Vucevic, but if you want to save money at center, Mr. Jesus came up with Muscala, and Muscala is the perfect fit at center for a budget play at 3,600. So if you're looking to play someone cheap at center, definitely go with Muscala. We already checked him. Mike Muscala has been playing 26 to 31 minutes over the course of the last 3 games, and that's with Mr. Embiid playing. Granted, I'm sure he's played some of those minutes on the 4 spot, to get some rebounds. 26, 27, and 31 over the course of the last 3 games that they have played. And he's put up, as He has a 24-point upside at 16, at 15 points here. He's averaging 15. He's priced at 15, and he's able to get you 24, and he's playing more than 20 minutes, man. Come on. Come on. Muscala is a nice play. Matter of fact, before I even leave, before I go, when I go to close out my lineups, I'm going to throw Mr. Muscala in at least 2 of my lineups and switch him up a little bit. But I think that's a fine play. That was brought up by Jesus, man. Great play there, Mr. Jesus. Yo, what's going on, World Peace 101? Haven't seen you in a while, buddy. So, Victor, yeah, everybody's saying Victor's playing. Hey, you know what? Play at your own risk, my friends. There's nothing wrong with playing Victor Oladipo. He has 60-point upside, but if he was a little sore with a knee, me personally, I am not on him for 10,000. There is definitely some fine plays here. Fine plays. Let me just make a couple case in points. I did mention it in my video earlier. All right. Kemba Walker, my only concern is, of course, is Mr. Jimmy Butler now is with Philly. He has destroyed Philadelphia this year in 2 games. Then you got Kyrie Irving, who put up a masterful game last night in a front end of a back-to-back, played a lot of minutes last night. Could be a viable play at 8,500. I love Mr. Fox, but he's getting Chris Paul defense, and Chris Paul is getting De'Aaron Fox defense. So I'm kind of fading both of those guys. That's just the way I feel about it. I love this kid. I mentioned it in my video the other day. De'Aaron Fox, I've been watching him a lot. I really like him. I did watch him a little while he was in college. Kyle Lowry, definitely in play here. Definitely in a solid situation. Love his price for DK. And then you got to come down and you got to at least take a stab at Lonzo Ball going up against Orlando. Now, DJ Augustin, I mentioned before, he is not a bad defender. He's pretty darn good. So it may be a little bit tough, but I think that's a nice play here at 5,600. He's going to get a bump in minutes. No Rajon Rondo. So Lonzo Ball, at least for me, is someone you got to take at least a look at, simply because, for one, his price is down. 2, the backup point guard is not available, so he's going to get more minutes and possibly get more opportunities to score. And just simply, he's going up against Orlando. I mean, granted, DJ Augustin has done very well against point guards. So that's my only concern there, is that DJ Augustin has been able to neutralize a number of point guards. Jesus says Blakeney. I was going to mention Blakeney before, but he doesn't get enough minutes for me. Sir Dave asking no LeBron. Tonight, as far as the studs, as far as the top-tier players, I think the best play is Kevin Durant, simply because no Steph and no Draymond Green. I mean, he's going to have to play a lot of minutes. He's going to have to take tons of shots. So for me, I would say 11,004. I mean, he's someone you should definitely take a stab at, even though he's not at home. I mean, Anthony Davis is great. LeBron is great. I mentioned that earlier. James Harden, they're all in good situations. So I just think the one that's going to have to really ball out and really help his team win is going to be KD. At least in my opinion. LeBron James should do well here. He should be able to get 60 on Orlando. Lamb or Holiday? Now, if you're asking for Justin Holiday is in play with no Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is not playing, so he's going to get a bump. He's going to need to take a lot of shots. I just don't know. I like Lamb a lot better as a player than I like Justin Holiday. So if you're comparing Justin Holiday, which I believe you are because he's in a price range of Jeremy Lamb, I am more in favor of Jeremy Lamb. And especially in today's matchup, because Charlotte, if Philadelphia neutralizes Kemba Walker, we have to remember Jeremy Lamb is pretty much the second, offensive threat on this team, other than Mr. Batum, who has not played as well this year. So Mr. Batum as well as Lamb is going to have to step it up if they neutralize him, if they put JB on Kemba Walker. Now, granted, Kemba Walker is going to still take as many shots as he can. That's the one thing you got to love about Kemba. You get your money's worth with Kemba because he takes 30-plus shots a game. He takes the most shots out of pretty much any player in the NBA, and it's just because he is the main go-to guy as far as offense is concerned for Charlotte. You're talking about Dillon Wright. Dillon Wright, Alexander Richards, yeah, as a bargain pick due to the fact of the blowout potential now that there's no Zach LaVine for Chicago. Absolutely. I think Dillon Wright is not a bad play. Aaron Gordon playing? I have no idea if Aaron Gordon's playing. I haven't heard any news. I haven't got no notifications. I got my phone right next to me. I don't have no notifications. Aaron Gordon, I guess he's a game time decision. He's probably going to try to warm up and see how it goes. Questionable, yeah, sprained left ankle, man. It's a shame because I was definitely, last night when I was looking over the slate real briefly before the night was over, I was actually considering already, I already had him on my watch list as far as someone to be in my player pool today. But then I saw this game time, this GTD this morning, and I said to myself, I don't know now if I'm going to go Aaron Gordon because I don't want to pay up. Look, if you got to pay up for Aaron Gordon, $4,600 cheaper than the top guy in the power forwards position today, is definitely a nice play. It's a price. It's a nice price to come down to from 4,006. Thanos, you mentioned Jokic, and you guys know I love Jokic, but Vucevic is in play for me, and he's the guy that I mentioned in my video today. I definitely like Vucevic in his matchup today. So at center, yes, Vucevic. Payne starting for Bulls. I would assume so if he's good to go, and I think he is. But Payne has been so erratic as well. He's been a pain. He has been a pain. I'm not high on Cameron Payne. But at 3,800, let's take a quick look at his log here. When he has played about 20 to 24 minutes. And, he gets you 20 to 25. He's a consistent kid. 20, 22, 21. If his bottom, as far as minutes are concerned, is 14, and he could put up 1 fantasy point per minute, that's fine. As a $3,800 player tonight, I mean, knowing that he's going to have to play maybe 30, 35 minutes or better, he might not be a bad play for tonight for Chicago. Yeah, J.J. Barrera. Dave, you know the deal with JJ, man. JJ can get you 1 fantasy point per minute and then some. It's all about minutes for JJ. We know that already. We discussed it several times. JJ Barrera, 4,400, you need pretty much 22. And if we look at his game log, when he does play and he plays more than 20 somewhat minutes, he puts up numbers. 21 minutes here against OKC, put up 33, put up 21 floor points. He's a scorer. This guy's a scorer, He comes on there and he just wants to just electrify the team and put up numbers. His last 3 games, 33, 24, 29, absolutely in play for 4,400. You only need 22, and he's averaging more than 24 plus in the last 3 games. And he's been getting more than 20 minutes because at 4,400, guys, you want to have a player. You want to pay for a player that's at least getting 21, 22 minutes or better, or is getting you 1 fantasy point per minute or better at this price. So if no Wesley Matthews, which I believe that is definitely true, he's not, then J.J. Barrera is going to get a bump in minutes. He's going to play. Dennis Smith has been so bad that even Barrera's looked better than Dennis Smith. I would rather Payne. Yeah, Barrera or Wright over Payne, I agree. More so. Right now, I would say J.J. Barrera, especially knowing that Mr. Matthews, game time decision, if he is out, JJ is going to get a bump. Yeah, it says doubtful for Saturday, so chances are he is not definitely playing. Is Tyreek Evans a no-no? No, not necessarily, Yasiel. To me, I think I put him in my video earlier because I really believe they saw that they can actually get this guy on the court and he could put some points up. And this is something that they knew going in. Tyreek Evans can score. You just got to give him some minutes. I mean, Indiana has not utilized him. Like I've said before, if they put him on the floor and they give him 20 minutes, 25 minutes or better, and slowly but surely increase his minutes, he's going to get you 30 to 35 fantasy points per game for us fantasy players, but he's going to be able to put up, 16, 17 points a game from the floor for this team and help them. He's an additional offensive threat. I understand that the game is run by and is run through Oladipo, But I mean, you got another guy here that can score. You gotta get him in there. Grady Harris. Yeah, no problem, Grady. Franklin asks, he's asking the whole gang here, man, who do we like at center tonight? Well, top tier center for me tonight, I mentioned it in my video earlier. If you did not see that video, Franklin, is I gave you guys Vucevic at 8,600. That's a nice price down from Mr. Embiid at 53 fantasy points per game. You got a Vooch who's capable of getting you 60, and he's averaging almost 42 fantasy points per game. And at 8,600, you know, that's a nice price down, 1,000 less than Jokic, and he's in a better situation. He's in a better situation. The Lakers have given up tons, almost 40 fantasy points per game to centers thus far this year. Vucevic should definitely eat up all night and get at least, I would think that minimum he got to get at least 50. And I would not be surprised if he has 25, 30 before halftime. That's just the way I feel about it. So he is, if you're looking for a cheap play, we just found out Muscala is playing. If Muscala is playing and he's already playing 26 to 30 minutes while Embiid has been starting, coming off the bench and playing some 4 spot alongside him, if he's going to start over Embiid because of the hand problem, or if he's going to start at power forward, you got to give him a shot at that price. I mean, 3,600, man. He's averaging 15, and that's exactly what you need for 3,600. And the most important thing here, folks, is that he is playing 26 to 31 minutes over the course of the last 3 games. Courtney Parker asks Kuzma or Ingram. You know, when it comes to the Lakers, man, when it comes to those 2 guys, I always go with Kuzma for me. I like the younger kid. You know, granted, they're both young. Mr. Ingram has been in the league only about a year longer or 2 years longer. I still like Kuzma. I just like his game a little bit more. Hey there, Anthony Martin. Yes, it's been a long time. Listen, I was in a Slack talking to a number of guys, and I just said to myself, "Damn, man, you know what? I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat some. You know what? I feel like just going online. I feel like going live today. Do some NBA. I got a little bit of time. You know, get ready to watch the games. I haven't done it. I haven't done NFL live videos in about maybe since week 4 or week 5, something like that. It's been about 4 or 5 weeks. I haven't been able to do that, and you know, I'm home today, so I said, you know what the heck, I feel like just doing NBA. So I'm on here. I just threw myself out to the wolves, figured let me go out and interact with some of the viewers for a while. Okay, Mike Day says, who gets minutes at small forward for Toronto with Miles, Norman Powell, and OG Anunoby out? Well, I mean, there's no doubt that you're going to probably more than likely use Ibaka and my boy Siakam. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at there. I mean, it's not going to be anybody else. This is going to be that they're going to utilize Mr. Siakam and possibly Mr. Ibaka both at the same time. And if they're not going to go that route, then obviously that means they're moving a shooting guard to the 3. And I don't see anybody that's going to do that here for Toronto. I mean, Danny Green could move up, and then you can actually place Lowry with Van Fleet. But I doubt that. I think it's going to be more so that you're going to get Siakam and Ibaka up front. And I'm not at all opposed to that with freaking Valanciunas. I mean, that's some deadly rebounding players right there between Valanciunas, Siakam, and Ibaka. Well, thank you, Anthony, man. Yeah, WNBA, man. Like I was telling a couple guys the other night, I mean, WNBA was not great for me this year. I actually lost a few $100s for the entire summer. I mean, I was winning here and there, but really basically just getting my money back, losing some. I never really took down a GPP. I think the best one I took was a small one that I didn't take down, but I got like $150 or $180 or something like that in one event. But that was basically it. Other than that, everything else was just like $8, $10, just getting some money back. But overall, at the end, I usually play with about $500 for WNBA for the season, and I try to cap my off there, but when it was all said and done, I lost like about close to $300. I pretty much lost half of the money, which is okay. I mean, I play mostly GPPs, guys. So, I mean, again, I'm taking risks every day, and I know that I'm looking for that one big one or two. So if I can win 2 or 3 big ones a year, you're pretty good. Okay, Thanos asks, Lowry or Jimmy? Wow, that's a good question, man. Jeez. Lowry is 8,000. Jimmy is 8,400. Man, you know what? And you're talking about on FanDuel here. If it's on FanDuel, I think I still would go with Jimmy. I mean, I just feel that Jimmy, has something to, show here to Philadelphia, not come in and feel like, hey, you know what? I need rest after, in the front end of a back-to-back, which he was always something he was doing in Minnesota, and it was due to the fact that he just wanted out of there. But as you can see today, we haven't heard anything about Jimmy Butler not wanting to play, so he's going to play. And I think at 8,400, his price is just too good. So I would say roll with JB if you're asking me. It's just my opinion, but Lowry is a good pick tonight as well against Chicago. Again, granted, the only reason I'm saying more Jimmy Butler also is because I think that maybe Charlotte, because they're at home, they can keep this game close enough for a little while for Jimmy Butler to get busy on. But while Lowry is playing against Chicago in Chicago, and Chicago, their main guy is out tonight in Zach LaVine. So the injuries keep mounting up for the poor Bulls, man. It's just incredible how many guys are hurt over there. George Michael says, what I think about Corey Joseph? Well, again, Oladipo out. It definitely elevates minutes for Collison, for more offense from Collison, Sabonis, Bogdanovich, you name it, all the way to Tyreek Evans coming off the bench, as well as Corey Joseph. So those guys are all in play, no doubt about it, if there is no Oladipo. Okay, if Oladipo doesn't play, and even if he plays, like I said, he's got a little bit of a bum knee. I don't think he's 100%. I would not risk playing Oladipo, but as far as maybe going after Corey Joseph or anybody else for that matter, I think I will just leave it to 1 or 2 players. I think the one player that you could possibly think of, even with Oladipo playing, to me, I still feel deep down inside that Evans is probably the best play, simply because he is 4,200, and he's a guy that can get you 40. There's no doubt about that. He can. Schroeder. Yeah, Schroeder's in play. Obviously, with no Russell Westbrook still, Schroeder's in play. It's just his price tag is just way up there. I mean, he is kind of capped out already in my eyes. I mean, he's more like a $7,000 player, and he's at about 8,200 or 8,300. He is at 8,200. That's a big, big number. He needs about 40, 41 to meet value there. Not that he can't get it done against Phoenix. Not that he can't get it done at all, because he has been playing and he's been putting up 40. But it is a big number tonight. It is a big number for him. So I think he's at that range where he's going to have to show me he can get 50s on a regular basis for me to pay 8,200. Especially, as far as if you're looking to pay cash. Nobody wants to play a cash game with Dennis Schroeder and pay 8,200. Okay, Daryl Parker, are you asking? I don't think you're asking, Daryl Parker. You're saying Muscala starting for MB. If he is, that is fantastic. That is absolutely great news, because, he's probably going to be a little chalky now, because everybody that is following this news all over the internet and our DFS players, they're definitely going to make some changes to Mr. Muscala. Joe, I have no idea. The farthest I know of about Victor Oladipo, if anybody knows for certain that Victor Oladipo is playing, please mention it here in the chat. The farthest I have, as far as notification of me, about an hour ago, I heard he is going to try to warm up. He is not for sure, but he was going to try to test, the leg in warm-ups. So you're going to have to wait all the way up to about right now soon. There should be some sort of news on him if he is playing today. His game is at what time? Oladipo, yeah, he's playing now at 7 o'clock. Yes, I mean, he's somebody that you're gonna have to. There's gonna be any news. There's gonna be any news on him is gonna be very shortly. Okay, Courtney Parker says he is starting Chandler. You're talking about Muscala. No, Yasiel Muscala, not Marvin Williams. I don't like Marvin Williams. I mean, that's just preference for me. I mean, it's probably not the right DFS move as far as me giving you that advice. But if I'm going to choose one of the two, I'll go with Muscala, knowing that he's been playing 26 to 31 minutes, and he's $3,600. Depot is playing. Well, again, if the Oladipo is playing, that definitely hurts us as far as anybody looking to play maybe Collison, maybe Corey Joseph, or Bogdanovich, or even Evans, because Victor is going to get a whole slew of offense coming his way. He is the main go-to guy, but I still believe that even if he is playing, I think Tyreke Evans is probably the best play for you guys if you're thinking of somebody in Indiana. Depot is playing. Check Twitter. Okay, well that's great. If Victor Oladipo is playing, then the only one I would recommend anybody is, and I mentioned it earlier in my NBA video for today, is Mr. Tyreke Evans. I would not advise anybody on anybody else. That's just my opinion. Will I stack Thompson and Durant? If you're playing, yeah, I have no problem with a stack between Durant and Thompson. I think that's not a bad play at all tonight, and I will like that play even more so if you're playing that late slate. If you're playing the late slate, the 8:30, the after hours slate, where it's going to be Golden State and Dallas and OKC and Phoenix, definitely like that stack even more so. I think I already have them set up that way in one or two of my lineups for later. Adam Lewis, you're welcome, man. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for being a supporter. Well, thanks for that news, Joe. Any thoughts on Donovan Mitchell? Courtney, man, wow, I am not on Donovan Mitchell tonight. Boston is tough, man. I try not to play too many guys against Boston because they have a tendency of 8 times out of 10 they shut people down in certain positions. And any given night, it could be any different type, any position. Some nights could be in the guard position. Some nights it's at center. I mean, it's just Donovan Mitchell is freaking nice. If you guys have been with me since I started the channel back in March, I used to love Donovan Mitchell. Tell you guys how much I was impressed with this kid. And he was the guy that I was the most impressed with last year as a young rookie. This year, I kind of like so far how Fox has been playing, even though he's not a rookie. But Donovan Mitchell, yeah, man, he's someone you can consider at 7,800. I just think it's just a little bit of tough of a matchup. Now, granted, Boston is on the front end of a back-to-back. If we hear that Kyrie Irving is not going to play maximum minutes, he's not going to play his 30 to 35, 40 minutes, then, yeah, he could be someone because now you know that there's one less offensive threat out on the court against them. But I don't know. Well, I just got now a notification that Fred VanVleet is going to start in front of Kawhi Leonard today. So Kawhi Leonard is sitting and resting, which I did hear about that earlier. And now we know that Mr. Fred VanVleet is going to be starting in his spot. Drew Holiday, too expensive. Yeah, same thing, man. Denver, Dave, you've been watching, and I know you've been with the Slack group. We've been talking about this. Drew Holiday's been fantastic. He's a great ball player. He's been averaging 45, 48 fantasy points, pretty much on an uptrend for a while. My only concern is that Denver has been really good defensively overall, so far this year. Now, granted, they are playing in New Orleans, so you got to always take a stab at a few New Orleans players. I think the New Orleans players today, I think Marichik, because he was out and he's getting back in the groove. His price is still pretty good. Maybe probably the nicest play as far as price is concerned at 70. I think he's what, 7,600. Marichik is 7,900. So he's at 8, pretty much 8,000. But I mean, you could play Drew. I mean, I just saw a little worry of playing against Denver. If anybody here, I mean, in this group here, like I said, Jimmy Butler against Charlotte, good spot for him. And I think Clay's in a good spot with Dallas because Dallas has been having a hard time with point guards and shooting guards this year, more so with the point guards. And then I love Evan Fournier here against LA. I think Fournier is going to have a great game here. He should be able to put 35 or better against these guys. And then you got also Jeremy Lamb here. If they neutralize Kimball Walker, I definitely like Jeremy Lamb for Charlotte. Wow. Wesley Johnson for the Clips. Pretty decent defender. That's the only thing I can tell you. He doesn't, electrify as far as offensively, But if you want, I'd be honest with you. I am not, when it comes, let me find him. I know he's been playing quite a bit as of late. I'm just not, what is he, small forward? For New Orleans, Wesley Johnson. Yeah, 12 minutes against the Knicks, 29-20. Don't know, man. I mean, the price is, for what he's put up, he's shown that he could put up 20 plus. Yeah, I mean, he could definitely be a nice little punt play, 22, 20, 23 fantasy points, 26 over here. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Small forward, yeah. I think you can play him, man. His numbers look good. I mean, he's getting the minutes. He's getting enough, he's getting enough shots. It looks like he's putting up 5.7 rebounds in one game, 12 and 4 in another, 25 fantasy points against Chicago. I don't know. I'm not fond of him, but in a matchup like this, he is at home. If the game gets a little out of hand, let's say New Orleans takes a nice little lead, you can see him playing a little bit more than what he's going to get as a starter. Courtney, if I'm paying up for AD, no, not tonight. That's a bit much. Granted, he can get you 60, 70. He did it last night. But when I look at this slate and I see that AD is up there at 12,006 here on FanDuel, and then the next best guy is Aaron Gordon, and he's at 8, that's a $4,600 difference. I know I can utilize that money somewhere else. And granted that he may be the best possible player, but he could get you 60, he could get you 70 against Denver. I just think that Denver this year, they're playing so much slower. The pace is down on them. They're playing a little bit tougher against everybody in every position. Definitely probably not the game to have Anthony Davis. But again, I'm just going by what I see and what I see statistically. So I don't know. Deshaun Robinson. Do not ask me about Josh Jackson. I don't know, man. I don't know what's up with that kid. To be totally honest with you, he was promising coming out of college, and I don't know, man. Last year he showed some signs of being a pretty good player, but he has been not good at all this year. Not good at all. He can't hit a shot, and then they realize he's not hitting shots, so they're not even giving him the ball much anymore. So he's pretty much not been part of the offense. I'm not. I would advise you use your money and play it somewhere else. Don't put it on Josh Jackson. Gerard. Nobody's going to be able to stop Embiid. Embiid is the most savage center in the league. Pure savage. I'm telling you guys that right now. It's not going to be the first time you're going to hear me say it. This guy is an absolute beast, and he's going to be beasting all year long. He doesn't care who's in front of him. So, no, Charlotte does not have an answer for Joel Embiid. The only thing that could hurt Joel Embiid is Joel Embiid. It's just plain and simple. If he gets into foul trouble like he did last night. Last night he got into foul trouble. They took him out in the third. He wasn't putting up great fantasy points, and he still finished up with a great game because he came back in and he stood away from foul trouble and didn't get his 5th and 6th foul. And he was able to finish up strongly. 26 minutes, finished with 23 floor points in 26 minutes. That shows you how much of a savage this man is. Come on now. 26 minutes, 23 floor points. Finished with a 48.4. Then I mean, he was definitely under price. I mean, he didn't pay up his price last night, but nonetheless, stay out of foul trouble, Joel, and you'll be putting up 50 plus, 55, 60s almost every damn night. It's crazy. So Joel Embiid, yes, sir. You asking who can stop him in Charlotte? The answer, Gerard, is nobody. There's nobody at all. They're going to have to double team him and hope. And that's the best thing to do with Joel Embiid, is try to double team him, trap him, and hope that he makes mistakes, because he's capable of turning over the ball. That's the one thing there's a drawback. And every time the teams have played him in that kind of way and make it more frustrating for him, he gets into foul trouble and he turns over the ball. So that's what they need to do. If they do that, then they may have a shot at getting under his skin and getting him to get into foul trouble and him sitting down more. But as far as him now allowing himself to get emotionally so caught up in the game like that, Joel Embiid will be beasting and savaging over everybody. I think he's the most savage guy in the NBA as far as center is concerned. So Embiid, yes, he's a beast, man. Am I paying up for him tonight with the hand injury? I'm not going to do that. He did play last night. Granted, he only played 26 minutes, so he's young. He's able to go. And if you look here to see when it's the last time he had a back-to-back, he played 33 minutes here on the 3rd, and on the very next day against Brooklyn, he played 32 more minutes. He put up 62 and 38. So you always got to look at that. And then you look over here, another back-to-back, Atlanta-Toronto, 29th and 30th of October, 29 minutes and 32 minutes. So he's played back-to-backs all year long. He had 23rd and 24th. He did the same thing, 35 and 38 minutes respectively. He put up 260 spots in those 2 games. Yeah, Yasiel, yes. Fred VanVleet and Fred VanVleet can score. When he gets minutes, he usually plays very well. So, yes, I think VanVleet at his price tag, and knowing that he's going to start and more than likely play 25 to 30 minutes in that position, I think he is definitely someone you can consider. Yeah, Sir Dave, absolutely. With Embiid, yes, with Embiid. Massive upside. The guy can, I mean, I tell you, he can score 60 points every damn night. I mean, just the way the guy's playing, he's turning into a good free throw shooter, and he's capable of hitting threes as well. It's just a scary thought if this guy becomes a really good 3-point shooter as well, and he loves to bang and get under the boards. So he brings a lot to the table as a center. Joel Embiid definitely in play. Courtney Axis, yeah, I'm liking Tatum. Yeah, Tatum tonight, due to the fact that Kyrie had that big monster game yesterday, I would probably be more in tune to playing Tatum today if it was me. Just simply because you need somebody to come through today after that big game by Kyrie. Needs a little bit of a break, Mr. Irving. But Mr. Irving's going to go out there. He's going to try to do it all over again. He's young. He's hungry. He wants to be one of the best point guards in the league. So he'll go out there and ball his butt off again tonight. So Max, he said, I put Davis, Durant, Clay, and Butler in one lineup. Well, good. Now, what would your budget plays there, if you don't mind me asking? Who are the ones where you paid down at? I would say, I'm sure if you got those guys there, you had to throw Mr. Muscala in there at 3,600. He's got to be one of your budget plays there. There's no doubt. One of your... All right, the games are about to begin, ladies and gentlemen. We're about 1 minute and 40 seconds away from game time. Yeah, VanVleet is in play, man. Absolutely. No Kawhi Leonard. And again, that makes it even more interesting very quickly. More interesting for Kyle Lowry tonight. No Kawhi. So now Lowry's going to have to pick it up, and he's been in a little bit of a downtrend. But Kyle Lowry is a good enough player that he can get it done. Tonight, he's going to have that opportunity. As you can see, playing massive minutes, but his fantasy point totals have been down 4 straight games. 24, 20, 27, and 28. Tonight is the night that he will be able to turn it around. I did mention earlier that I love him on DK, and I do have him on my DK lineup. And now that's even more appealing because there's obviously no Leonard playing. So that works out even better. So Kyle Lowry definitely in play. All right, guys, 35 seconds, man. I'm going to wrap it up right here, man. Hey, I'll be in the Slack chat if you guys want to keep, going back and forth there throughout the night. We can do that. Other than that, man, hey, I'm glad to come out here and talk to you guys for a little bit. I hope you guys like, man. Hey, please, before you leave, man, drop a like on the video. Like always, man, I greatly appreciate that. It definitely helps me out. And, of course, if you're new here, it's your first time here, man, make sure you subscribe so that you'll be able to catch these NBA and NFL lineup advice videos on a